Hello and welcome to episode 25 of Lost in Chronologically Lost, where this time we get 2 resolutions to cliffhangers for the price of 1.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I gotta say, it was nice seeing some of that, all that stuff that was set up start to come together here.
Right, and so the reason I say that is because, as you've already mentioned to me that you thought the whole thing with the hatch was 2 episodes from different viewpoints,
see, I
which is
caught
true.
that.
There's the Jack viewpoint and then the Locke viewpoint. And the Kate viewpoint mixed with Locke's as well.
Can I say my prediction, like what I said while I watched the episodes to you? Because I said I was pretty sure that originally we just saw the Jack viewpoint, so we did not originally see, Locke meeting Desmond and stuff. And so then it would be a twist when we see Locke there, oh shit, someone's here and has a gun on Locke. And I'm pretty sure that the episode had the flashback where Jack meets Desmond, so that then it's like, oh shit, it's the guy from the flashback.
Well, you are right on that account, in that that first Jack episode did have his flashbacks where he is operating on Sarah and runs into Desmond at the stadium. But what your other prediction? What was that?
I thought, well, this was like a less confident prediction, but I thought that maybe the next episode would show like how Locke met Desmond, and that would maybe have some Desmond flashbacks so we could start to understand why Desmond was there. Although, as I said that after I finished episode 44 of Chronologically Lost, and after episode 45, I think it could take some more time before it actually would show Desmond's flashback.
Yes. So this is kind of tricky to explain how it was. We have the first episode, which is mostly Jack. We see a little of Locke and Kate, but pretty much when Kate gets dragged down by Desmond, that's where we stop seeing them. And then we have Jack's flashback. And this is also where we have everything with Shannon and all that. And then the next episode is we see Locke and Kate, what happened to them when they went down to the hatch. And we also see that's when we see what happened to the raft people.
Yeah, and speaking
and
speaking of the raft people, I think I should have, what happened with them, with the others taking Walt, I wasn't going to see that coming. In retrospect, I should have predicted that this is how the plot starts to intersect with the Tailies. I should have predicted that they'd meet them.
Yes, and so I'll just ask, now that you have seen these 2 episodes here, what do you think the other side of the flashbacks were, knowing that the original sort of second episode here was the raft people along with Locke and Kate?
Oh man, that is really hard to say for me. It might have been a Locke flashback, and I say that because there was a part where I forget exactly where, but there's something where Locke says it's never easy, because they have that whole argument about why is Locke believing him so easily. Locke says it's never easy, and I think that could tie into showing how difficult Locke's life has been.
It was actually Michael in the court case to get custody of Walt.
I mean, that works. That definitely works. Part of the emotional core of this episode is seeing, Walt is someone that Michael cares very deeply about. So, I can see that.
But funnily enough, this was the one episode, this is the only time it happened, where they had begun shooting an entire storyline that they cut and then replaced with the Michael one. And the storyline was going to be, apparently it was roughly what was going to happen with Sawyer and Cassidy. And it was going to be some version of that, which we eventually get later.
Maybe to tie into Sawyer has a kid too.
Yeah, I could kind of see it in the beginning of the episode where Michael is you've never cared about anybody but yourself, and it's okay, that would kind of tie into that backstory when they were originally writing, and then clearly they changed it around to fit better with the Michael backstory. But where do we begin with this episode, Matthew?
Well, we begin with Hugo reciting the numbers because he doesn't want to look in the hole, and I gotta say, they really milk the hell out of what's in the hole here. I'm okay, time to meet Desmond, and then it's a while before we even get to see Desmond. They're just so much ooh, are we going down, are we not? It's very slow. So one thing that occurred to me here is they blew up the hatch. There's no closing it. So let's say they could bring everybody here and hide them in the hatch. I'm pretty sure the others could follow their tracks and, like, find the hatch.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not a real issue because the others aren't coming for them, but, like, that...
And I want to say, when I was first originally watching this episode, and you have the argument where Locke is like, we have to go right now, and Jack is like, we can wait 3 hours until it's daylight. Like, come on. When you're watching it in this version, and you already know everything in the hatch, it's like, yeah, Jack is in the right. Just wait. Like, it's fine. You don't have to go in the middle of the night.
But I'm watching it like this, and I'm impatient, so I'm like, come on, just meet Desmond already.
But when I was watching this originally, I was like, Jack, shut the fuck up and go into the hatch. You need to see what's in there.
Yeah, because this whole time, because they milk it so much with there's these really tension-filled scenes of exploring it and, like, dealing with Desmond. I'm just like, the whole time thinking, oh, it's just Desmond, just go in and say hi.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, I gotta say, I think them, like, setting up... So, right now, the viewer is supposed to already know, like, there's someone down there with a nice house because we saw that introduction in the last episode of Desmond having breakfast and stuff. So, I just feel like when the writers decided what would be down the hatch, I think they really just went with whatever would be the last thing you would expect. And so they went with, yes, some dude just lives down there with a nice place where he makes breakfast and listens to music. Like, they just decided that would be what you didn't expect, and then they thought of how they would explain that afterwards.
No, you know what I see what they did is... So, you know, again, this is whole J.J. Abrams mystery box BS. So, finally, you have to open the mystery box. So, what's inside of it in a way that lives up to the hype? Oh, well, we'll just shove a bunch of other mystery boxes inside of this box. So,
that's
like,
true.
To be fair, some of these you don't know the answer to. Like, how does Desmond have all that food still?
I just assumed there were food storage. I just assumed they had a lot of food stored there for decades.
No, that is you saw it, the food storage. You saw that. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, what do you... Oh, yeah, so... Okay, yeah, that's something that I thought you said that's something I wouldn't know, but that's something I would know.
No, you wouldn't know.
Wait, I wouldn't know?
Like how does Desmond still have all that food?
Because there's a lot of it stored.
But how... No, you've seen all that stored. It's like 3 shelves.
So?
So even if you're living alone, you'd go through that eventually.
Maybe there used to be more. That's what I thought.
How would there be more? They're stocked full.
Maybe that's not the only pantry.
It's the only pantry.
I didn't think that was a mystery. Okay?
Yeah, that's a mystery. There's the mural with all the numbers on it. There's a computer that you have to press, and why do we have to press the computer?
The mural the mural with all the numbers does not seem that significant. It just seems like what someone would paint if they were trapped in there and crazy. I think
it's not significant, but the show makes it seem significant.
Because it said 108 because they're going crazy over the 108 minutes. Now, the computer pressed the button. Yeah, that's the mystery box. And that, like... I'm not sure if there are details to that, I don't know, but yeah, that's...
And, like, you know, why is there a magnet wall that Jack passes by that lifts his key and everything? And
that just seems like the answer is electromagnetism.
Yeah, and who's this Scottish guy that's living in this hole? Like, and what's Dharma, and why does the film have so many cuts in it? And... Like, the answer to half those things is the most boring possible answer.
The film having cuts, isn't it just Radzinski just cut it for some reason? Because he was crazy?
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, they really put in cuts, maybe thinking, like, ooh, what if there's important information that was cut out, so then there's a mystery of, like, there's seriously significant stuff that they don't know, and then, like, seasons later they had to explain it, and they're just like, oh, yeah, we have to explain why it was cut. Let's just say he cut it, yeah. Hey, did we hear the name Radzinski in Desmond's flashbacks before we saw the real Radzinski?
Yes.
Huh. That must have been fun for people to finally see him. He definitely did not live up to expectations, considering he was so terrible.
Well, Well, I mean, the first we hear about him is that he shot himself. So.
Okay, well, that doesn't make someone a bad person. But, like, everything else he did does make him a bad person.
I mean, it does kind of make you a bad person when you are responsible for pushing a button to not,
Okay,
end the world with another person.
That's true, but I think in that situation you would also just go crazy and get real sick of your life. Like, I mean, trapped in a room.
I think if you're at that point where you're going to kill yourself over it, just turn the key at the bottom of the thing, honestly.
Honestly, I have big questions on how this whole thing even works, but let's worry about that later. So, anyway, we see Michael swimming for Walt, and it's tough stuff. And Michael, he's, I think we hear him shouting, but then as soon as Sawyer gets him on the raft, it's like he's drowning, and, But yeah, that's pretty messed up. And then we get some Charlie, which Charlie thinks the others aren't real.
When he says that... Okay, so obviously Charlie knows the others are real because he shot one of them.
Because he killed Ethan. He just comes off...
I think what he means is the whole smoke thing wasn't real. It was just Rousseau trying to get the baby. And everything she was saying was a lie. Which, I mean, it isn't true, but I can understand why Charlie would think that.
See, like, I would understand why Charlie would think that, but it still sounded to me like he was saying that, that they weren't real at all.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, Shannon has lost Vincent.
Which, that's pretty messed up. This didn't really go anywhere. Is there, like, more to this plotline I haven't seen yet?
What do you mean it didn't go anywhere? What?
Oh, wait, no, it did go Well, she saw the vision of Walt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... See, that went somewhere. What I was thinking was Vincent himself being missing didn't go anywhere.
Well, that's because, like Saeed said, he always comes back. He'll come back eventually. Like,
yeah. All right. But anyway.
But it's a
Anyway,
she says later
Shannon,
that.
So honestly, making sure you have Vincent back is more important than making sure you have Walt back.
And yet she says, that the dog is the only real responsibility anyone's ever, put on me. So she wants to actually take care of it. And she sees, Walt, who's like completely drenched.
Yeah, this is...
And Walt, he shoots her. And I'll just say this now because she'll see it later, but it's just a continuation. She hears him say something that she doesn't understand, and that's because they reversed the audio clip.
Yeah, it sounded like that.
Do you want to know what he says when you play it normally?
Sure, just tell me.
Yeah, he says, "Don't push the button. Button bad."
Okay, that seems like...
That is absolute bullshit, writers. Come on. Especially because...
Walt is the second worst psychic in this show.
Especially because we know what the button does, and it contains electromagnetic energy that can pull a plane apart. So... It's not bad.
It's... He has been really, really wrong about a lot of stuff, I think.
The issue is the writers have been wrong about a lot of stuff, and they put it on him.
Yeah. They used him as a tool. Walt deserves better. Anyway, we also get, Hurley is asking Locke why he lit the fuse, and is like, well, it's like, I literally was shouting at you, telling you not to, and Locke is just like, yeah, you've got a point. And we also see quarantine written on the hatch, 2020 moment, but that just... It's something I know doesn't matter. Like, I'm sure the writers are hyping up, like, ooh, is there a dangerous virus? And I bet that ties into, like, all the mystery of, oh, Danielle Rousseau said there was a contagion, but there's nothing.
Yeah, we already know the virus was a lie that Kelvin used to keep Desmond there.
It's just, there's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, this is the one time that, there's a virus out there, and it actually is a lie.
Yeah.
But it's a lie, but, hey, Desmond's still taking those vaccines. Life lesson, everyone.
We see him grabbing them later, and I'm just like, really? But then after he grabs them and he's running, and this is way later, but we see him fall onto the ground, and I'm just like, okay, all the stuff in your bag probably just broke. Nice job.
Yeah, okay, everyone, when they run through this jungle, they fall. When Kate was running with the alcohol, she falls. When Shannon is running, she falls.
Seriously.
It's just a way for things to happen to them, but it's so funny that it happens so often.
Yeah. Anyway, we get...
So Locke says that he's like, maybe I'm crazy.
Wait. We get Locke correcting Kate's grammar. King shit.
Then we have Locke being like, well, yeah, I might be crazy, but a pillar of black smoke just dragged me through the jungle. So, that happened. Hurley explains the numbers to Jack, who just thinks... what he takes away from that story is, you were in a psych ward.
Which, I mean, come on. He was not... Like, we know why he was in the psych ward. Come on.
Yeah, and he points out that Jack has just terrible bedside manner, which is absolutely true.
Yeah, Jack is
especially
just...
with the flashback we're seeing.
I really want someone to be there for Hurley. The only one who's been there for him is Danielle.
Yeah, then we have Saeed. He doesn't believe that Shannon saw Walt, even though she absolutely did.
Oh, yeah. Walt isn't even dead. He's just magic.
Yeah. So then Locke gets some wire or whatever to go rappel into the hatch. Then he's tired of waiting, which is like the sentiment of everyone who is watching this show.
Like, come on, let's just see it.
Yeah, I mean, this first episode was the most watched episode of the show. So.
Not surprising.
No.
Anyway, Charlie asks about Arst, and Jack explains he didn't make it, but it's like... Yeah, I would find it funny if you explained how Leslie died, but like...
It's not supposed to be a funny scene, so...
That would make it really awkward if you did explain.
Yeah.
He
we have a nice sort of...
dynamite.
Yeah, then we have a nice sort of Jack and Kate scene, which is just a nice reminder that Sawyer is far away right now to interfere with this.
Wait. Before that, I have to remark upon how Jack promises that everybody is gonna live. And that makes it really fucked up that most of them are gonna get killed by the others in the 50s. Like...
Hey, but that's not Jack's fault. Jack isn't there when that happens.
Okay, that's true. That's true. That is not Jack's fault. But I just find it like, I honestly really agree with Jack's sentiment. I believe, work together, like, make sure everyone can survive and like have faith, believe in yourself, you can accomplish things. I would believe in him. I would agree. Like, don't be pessimistic, be optimistic, make things work out. But eventually the writers are just going to decide that they're all useless and kill them off in the 50s. Like, anyway, yeah. And also, Locke, like, getting stuff for the hatch is like... So Locke getting stuff for the hatch is like... Yeah, he can. He's not, like, making anybody else come with him, like... No reason to stop him, just let him do it, yeah.
Yeah, so, after we have a quick scene of Michael still yelling for Walt, then we have Locke, who's going to lower Kate down into the thing, and he's being very cavalier about it.
Yeah, and this is one of those scenes where they're just building up so much tension, they're really milking it, and I'm just like, come on, go meet Desmond.
Yeah, Kate does the thing that Jack told her about counting to 5, and then Desmond gets her in a really weird way.
In a really weird way, yeah.
Okay, then we have Sawyer, who's yelling for Jin. Michael gets mad at Sawyer for firing the flare.
It's really fucked up how they lost Jin. Like, man.
This is the second time Jin has been lost at sea.
Jin deserves better.
And then a literal fucking shark attacks them.
Yeah, also...
Literally a fucking shark.
So, like, it's really not... like, Sawyer's fault that they shot the flare. Like, they couldn't know, and, like, they were looking for them anyway. But yeah, a shark just makes you think they're milking a lot of tension here. This is a lot of... It's just... It doesn't matter. Honestly...
This is... I have to say, this is the stupidest thing that happens in Lost. Is that honestly, they literally get attacked by a shark.
I thought that they would have, like, used up all the ammo here, and that would, like, affect things later. But then, no, there is still ammo later. So it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, and, this is kind of a funny thing where Michael's like, oh, it's being lured by your blood. And he's like, well, I guess I'll just stop bleeding.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean...
And then, he also digs out the bullet with his finger, which is just like,
honestly,
I'm like, no,
pretty,
don't do that.
I mean, I'm pretty that's pretty metal, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to leave it in.
Yeah, leave it in until you can get it taken out and then sewn up and cleaned, because as we'll see later, he's developing an infection from that.
Like, isn't it like if you take it out just like that, like you're only going to make the problem worse, right?
I think if it's a bullet, it's not that bad for the bleeding. Those are usually for, like, stab wounds, because, like, in those cases, the knife is acting as a plug. So we see Locke in the hatch. He sees the Dharma logo, which is again like, oh, what's Dharma? What's that? Buddhism.
Yeah,
blah, blah.
it's a cult. I mean, honestly, they watch the video later and like, yeah, that is exactly how Dharma feels. It's a cult.
Yeah, so Desmond holds him up and asks, are you him? To which Locke says he is.
Because of course Locke would, and like, Desmond, I don't care about your replacement. Honestly, out of all the stuff in the plot, I'm not that invested in, like, we need people to keep pressing the button.
See, you're gonna hate season 2, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured at a certain point they're gonna have shifts. I just find the button kind of silly. It's a computer. Set up a loop. There's gotta be someone who knows basic programming here. I'm sure Saeed does.
Also, okay, I just want to say, how I said that if people like season 2, they don't. They like the idea of season 2. This is what I'm talking about. They like this idea, and it costs so much fan speculation and hypothesizing, and it's so interesting, and like everything like that, right? But all the answers to it make the mysteries so lame. Like, you see season 1, there's a mystery of, oh my god, there's a hatch, and what's in the hatch? And then you get the answer. Or, oh, there's a smoke monster, and then you get the answer. It's like, oh, that's cool. Even if, like, say, smoke monster answers don't really add up. But it's like, oh, that's interesting what happened. Yeah. The answers to all of these things are not interesting. Like, they're very boring. And the thing is, I'd say the only interesting answer is what the incident is. And that's because the main characters were in it due to time travel.
Yeah.
And so, season 1 of the show, the writer said, is about the survivors. Season 2 of the show, they literally say, is about the hatch. They made an entire season's premise around one single location.
See, that just disappoints me because, like, I mean, how many episodes is season 2?
Like 24.
See, it's like, if it's just about the hatch and the button, how much is actually going to progress here?
Like, yeah, do 6 episodes about the hatch. We're good. Like,
I just feel like, how much more are we going to keep watching where nothing changes then?
A lot. You're going to watch a lot of
that. See, I've been enjoying this show, and honestly, I will probably still enjoy the episodes we get, but, like...
At least, the thing is for you, though, is at least they will be going faster, because they're not being... There's no flashbacks to slow them down.
It's just, like, the thought of that being ahead of me is kind of a unpleasant one.
Yeah, Season 2 really tested my patience when I was watching it on DVD, let me tell you. Like, I was... Every time I had to switch discs, I'd be like, is this the one where they're finally going to see what happens when it counts down to 0? No? Okay. Next one. Like...
And, like, I don't even care about it counting down to 0. I just want them to stop caring about the button, because it's not that interesting to me.
Exactly.
I mean, should I go into it now? I find the premise of it really shaky. Like, you have to press it to discharge the electricity. Just set up a while loop on the computer. Or, like... Also,
if Desmond just told them what it did, because Kelvin told Desmond, then there would be no, you have to take faith, it's faith versus science, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. He could just say... Again, there is the thing of, like, Desmond even said that he questioned every single day if what he was doing was actually real. But at least there was... Which, it is real. But at least to him, he had the semblance of an explanation for why it was real. Yeah. Whereas Locke is doing it completely because
How many episodes?
Someone told him to.
How many episodes is it gonna be before we just get that? Like the explanation that Desmond got.
Well, we'll get those when we get the Desmond flashbacks, and I'm not going to say when those are.
Yeah. But, like, the thing is, the premise is just so shaky. Like, discharge electricity, but, how do I put it? Like, that's just really not how it works. Like, it would... Like, I feel like if it just went off... If it just went off on its own... It should just naturally discharge. It shouldn't, like, send out an electromagnetic pulse. And even if it did send out an electromagnetic pulse every 108 minutes, I don't think it would be strong enough to kill anyone. It just might mess with a few electronics. And it's just, like this, it just seems like conceptually with what I know about physics, it's something that should be fine if you don't press the button. And, like, even if it wasn't, even if it's a little more dangerous, I feel like you should be able to, like, when they first set up this station, it should have been possible to set it up such that it discharges automatically. And there are just so many layers to, like, this is really fake and constructed. Like, when Jack questions that this seems like it's all bullshit, I get where Jack is coming from so much, because it's a really unnecessarily convoluted situation, like, on the writer's part and on, like, the part of Dharma designing this.
Exactly. So then Locke, he sees the tally marks that Desmond just put there, and there's a ton. And then, he tells Kate, hey, tie him up, and then Locke throws her under the bus so hard.
Yeah, but he gives her the knife. So
he gives her the knife so that she can... escape.
Yeah. So, also there's the one snowman say to the other snowman. And also, Desmond should, like, realize now that him not pressing the button is what crashed the plane. Like, he definitely went through that thought process.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what one snowman said to the other snowman?
You're cool. Nice to meet you.
So, clarifies the Virgin Mary statue. So that's something, and Charlie's just like, oh, she's holy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, Charlie, like, you know what? Don't do things that don't carry around the Virgin Mary statue with heroin in it. I'm like, either just do the heroin or throw it away. Like, stop carrying it around.
Or, like, hide it somewhere.
Yeah, or burn it. Like, whatever. Who cares? Just stop just carrying it around and...
Like, honestly, if you want to keep the option of using it, then, like... Don't take it with you. Just remember where the plane is, so if you really want it, you can go there. Don't have it with
break
you.
it open, take out the baggies of heroin, and bury them somewhere if you want to know you have the option.
Yeah. Or
don't do it in such a conspicuous way.
Yeah, it's just like... It's way easier to choose not... It's way easier to eat healthy when you choose to not buy stuff at the store rather than choosing to not eat stuff when it's your fridge. It's way easier to not do heroin if you are choosing not to take it from the plane instead of just choosing not to open up the statue that you always have with you.
So Sawyer says that, the boat people were the others. They were going to find them no matter what because they were looking for them.
Which is definitely true.
Yeah.
Well,
and then
actually,
Michael gets mad.
Actually, now that I say that, maybe not. Like, it was in the middle of the night, and it's like you're searching for one random raft. Maybe they wouldn't have found them.
They would have... Okay, but
But also
they would have found them eventually when it became daylight. They would find them.
Alright, yeah.
Because, you know how leaving the island works, right?
No.
Okay, well... Anyways, the others would be able to find them.
Honestly, I really don't know. I don't know if I just forgot something, but if there's something more to being able to leave the island that you can't just do physically...
Well, we know the others know how to do it because they have a submarine that can go back and forth.
But,
But, like, as Sawyer points out, that little dinghy of a boat they had, that's not going to go very far.
Oh, yeah, and I liked him realizing that, the logic of it. And, anyway, they find a pontoon... And long story short, Michael definitely had a good chance of just straight up shooting Sawyer.
Yeah, but he shoots the shark.
Honestly, Like, if they just killed off Sawyer here like that, I mean, it would be ridiculous and, like, because of a fucking shark. But it's Sawyer. It would be the biggest loss for the cast.
Yeah. So Kate's in the pantry, and she cuts herself free.
Yeah,
and she sees all this food, and before she escapes, she eats an Apollo bar and then takes some more. Which, honestly,
yeah,
same.
I would do that. If it's been so long since you've had anything that tastes processed and sweet, like, yeah, I mean, you could eat it in just a minute. No need to wait.
Yeah, and this became a thing of, Apollo bars becoming a thing. Like when Hurley's dad left, that was the chocolate bar he gave him and everything.
You mentioned it's the one that the writers always use,
and it's shown up even in other shows. Like I believe in The Good Place, there are a couple scenes where characters are at a grocery store, and you can see it on the shelves.
Yeah, because I'm sure the production companies are just like the prop companies. They have it lying around, and it's like, yeah, we're not going to use a name brand. Might as well use that.
I have to wonder if it is a kind of reference, because I know, again, there are other shows that have used it. I just can't remember. But this was ABC, and I know The Good Place was NBC. So,
yeah.
I
think, companies that make props, they're always trying to find the cheapest, easiest way to get something effective. They're going to be like, do you want us to design a new one, or do you just want to use the one we already have in our storage?
Yeah. So Desmond starts questioning Locke on the details of the plane and everything, and it seems like he's still unsure of. Maybe he's been like, okay, well, clearly the virus had to have been something, just not as severe as Kelvin told me. Like that's why he's like still taking the vaccines or whatever.
No one's been sick. I mean, didn't Kelvin tell him it was bullshit?
Yeah, but
I understand.
That's the kind of thing I think when you're so deep into the lie, you have to try and rationalize it to not be so life-destroying.
Yeah. And, like... But yeah, then it starts beeping, and wants to make Locke do it. But then Jack is getting there. This whole time, I'm just like, come on, recognize each other. And, like... They do eventually, but I think you'll remember I messaged you in the middle of watching this just saying, like, I swear to God, just let them recognize each other.
Yeah, and I was, of course, trolling you, being like, well, they only met once, and it was dark, so... But no,
back when we watched, like, when we discussed that flashback, didn't one of us say, like, well, it was really dark, and this is one time, would they really remember? I forget which one of us said that, but yeah. Anyway,
then we see the electromagnetism thing. Jack kind of taunts Locke over the scenario, being like, "Oh, is this your destiny?" And then Jack recognizes Desmond.
Yeah, we get the whole cliffhanger of like, "Oh shit, someone has a gun." Also, Kate is going through the air vents, just like such a TV show thing that really doesn't work in real life.
I feel like if any building would have crawlable air ducts in a way where they are not blocked, I feel like it would be an underground Dharma station.
You know what I'm gonna say? This is a stupid thing to say, but you've told me that the writers really like referencing the Half-Life games, and I mean, there is a lot of air duct crawling in those games. Could be a point of inspiration.
I don't know if they liked referencing it. I think they had one person on the thing who used it, especially because I believe in season 1, I believe in the pilot, some of the sound effects they used were sound effects from the first Half-Life game. Or, no, sorry, Half-Life 2. And I think maybe with that, when they were doing the Saeed thing, and they're like, okay, one of the terrorist cell members will be playing a video game. They're like, well, we already had to license using the sounds for Half-Life, so why don't we just use that again? Like...
Yeah.
So on to the next episode. Michael is crying because he lost Walt.
It is fucked up.
Yeah, and they're drifting towards the island.
Also, he blames himself for bringing Walt on the raft, and that's just hindsight. Because before...
Kate did bring up that it would be dangerous to take a child on that raft.
But at the same time, like, before Michael would have said, there's no way he's leaving Walt behind alone. Like, you couldn't have known.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, I'm right here, I was just thinking, where the hell is Jin?
Yeah, he is floating onto the island. That's where he is.
Yeah. So then Kate jumps down from the vent, gets a gun, and whacks him in the back, and someone accidentally shoots the computer.
I believe it was Desmond accidentally shoots the computer.
Which, look, you guys aren't going to die if it goes up. I mean, here's the thing. Desmond was on the island.
I think Desmond already did the mental math, and it was like, oh my god, 44 days ago, I didn't push it, and then there was a plane crash. Like...
Yes, but here's the thing, like, Desmond was on the island when he didn't push it, and he didn't die, and the others are on the island, and they don't die when that happens. Like, even if it causes an electromagnetic pulse which could mess up a plane, it doesn't kill the people on the island. So then later when Desmond is, like, running away from the Swan, it's just like, come on, Desmond.
Anyway, so Jack wants to know what happens when you don't push the button, which is the same with every person watching, which is why, of course, they have to push the button. And
they, of course, just aren't explaiing it.
Yeah. Even though Desmond shows them about the real entrance to the hatch, so there you go, Law.
Now, so is it really... So is Season 2 really about the hatch, or is it just about the Swan? Because, I mean, they don't need to use the hatch anymore.
They will call it the hatch.
Okay. I mean, you could maybe call the other entrance also a hatch. I don't know.
It's just that the fans started using it so much that even though it's called the Swan, the writers will often just call it the hatch, or they'll say the Swan hatch, just so that people are like, oh yeah, the hatch.
And, you know, I did consider, like, this is a decent base. It has some food. It has some comfort. But this is the Swan. This is not the Orchid. The Orchid is the one they're really going to do a lot with later, right?
Well, that's where the wheel is.
Oh, yeah. That's what... Man. Anyway. So
Desmond gives a very rough explanation as to what happened to him.
Yeah.
So now we are in another episode, which is, again, arguing over whether or not to push this button and repairing a computer. Any idea what the flashbacks were for this? It has, like, no connection to what's happening.
I don't know.
It was Locke first meeting with Helen.
I mean, yeah, I get that there would be some Locke flashback. Yeah. Like I said before, like, I figured it would be something with Locke just for, like, the climactic scene is about Locke's faith and stuff, so, like, yeah. But I don't think that flashback in particular ties in much. It's more just explaining why he was calling that call girl Helen.
So Libby and Cindy find Jin just washed up on the shore, so they tie him up, and Anna is super sus because of, one, literally everything that has happened to them since they crashed.
Yeah.
And two, he has a handcuff on, like...
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Like, honestly, so I'm guessing with this plotline, we originally don't see Ana Lucia's side of it. That comes later.
No, we don't.
Now, we're supposed to be wondering if these are members of the others. And
so honestly, Echo thinks he's fine. But then Jin runs away to Michael and Sawyer yelling about the others. And so then Echo comes and knocks them all out.
Yeah.
In the shot where Echo comes to knock them all out, they have Echo and they have Ana Lucia. But Libby and Bernard are played by actually completely different actors.
Of course.
They're played by extras here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, like, honestly, that whole plotline is just, like, I get, like, you gotta build up the tension, but it's just like, oh, come on, Ana Lucia, these are the good guys. Come on, get this, I want to see it get resolved already.
Yeah, but the thing with this is, you know, she went through, we had someone who said he was part of the plane crash, and he lied. But also the audience would, so, here's the thing, so, do you remember the scene of Jack meeting Ana Lucia at the airport bar?
Yeah.
That was part of the season 1 finale flashback. So as soon as when people saw Ana Lucia, if they remembered, they would know, she actually was from the plane, because she was on, And then it's just like, you guys, you have to just believe each other that you're both from the same fucking plane.
Like, I mean, honestly, I like the plot setup, but I also just find it a little, like, frustrating to watch just because their current, like, we see their dynamic is going to be so imbalanced because they're the ones in the cage. And it's like, come on, just resolve it already.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want that to be resolved immediately, but I don't want that to last too long.
Yeah, so Anna's going to play spy and gets thrown in the pit with them and everything.
Yeah.
We have Jack and Locke arguing over their entire scenario over pushing this button.
Also, I forgot to mention, Desmond mentions that Kelvin died. He doesn't say, like, he killed him.
I mean, yeah, he was choosing to leave that out.
Anyway, yeah, so Jack is just pointing out how insane it all is, and he's right. It's just that he exists within the show Lost.
Yeah.
But we
so there
see
was the orientation film.
Marvin Candle, I already knew he used that name. Is there any reason for the different name from Pierre Chang other than that when they decided to actually use the character, they decided he should actually be named Pierre Chang so he can be Miles Chang's father? Like, is it just a retcon?
Well, actually, Miles doesn't go by Chang.
Okay.
There is an explanation, but
I mean, there can be an explanation because there's not a plot hole like they said before. He used a different name for the video, but it is just like
I will say eventually you will see a different video because as you saw that he was filming videos for all the stations, right?
Yeah. I'm sure
there will be a video that he films where he explains why he uses a different name.
Okay, but even then, it's like, it's just because the writers decided they wanted to give him a different name later on, pretty much.
Well,
okay,
just to give you an explanation, in every video he uses a different name, so they were already on that train.
Okay, I'll give him that then. Alright, I wasn't giving them enough credit. That's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, we have the raft people talking to Anna, and neither one believes the other was on the plane.
We got to talk about the video. Gerald and Karen de Groot, and it's funded by a Danish rich guy Hanso.
Yeah, we already know about Hanso. His family owned the ship that he was used to transport slaves. That
I didn't know about a lot of that.
I've mentioned it several times, but you keep forgetting because it's so unimportant.
I mean, I knew the name Hanso, but I feel like I didn't know these details.
Yeah, they mentioned before in the 70s that they're funded by the Hanso Group.
Yeah, well, I didn't know he was Danish.
I mean, you could tell by his name. It's clearly a Scandinavian name.
I am not... Okay, well, I didn't guess that. Anyway, so Ana Lucia is talking to them, and it's funny because she definitely doesn't believe them yet, but it's just like, this is how she finds out there were actually 40 more survivors. And it's just like, I just want her to see her get there and just have them realize, oh shit, these guys are actually legit. Just like I wanted to see Danielle see them and realize that they were legit, and I want to see Desmond see that this is legit. But most of all, I want to see Ana Lucia realize this is legit.
Right. So Sawyer plans to shoot Echo. Yeah, good. I mean, good plan, but you're telling it to the wrong person.
Yeah. And it's on one level it is understandable because I mean you dealt with Ethan. Like it's kind of a Sawyer moment, but it's also like, you know the others are a thing.
Yeah. Then Jack starts questioning Desmond about stuff. He thinks that the button is a mind game. He's like, "Oh, did you ever think of that?" And Desmond's like, "I absolutely thought of that."
Yeah, but it's just like, yeah. Jack's arguments are right. It's just like
It's just that the show actually does have magic.
And not just magic. I mean, this is just electromagnetism. It just, such a convoluted thing would exist. I will say, I feel like Jack's whole, I'm only gonna believe stuff with proof, is like, I feel like that wasn't Jack's characterization before this.
What happened is that the scene at the end of season 1, where they have the whole man of science, man of faith thing, became the premise for the show for the next however many things. Until Jack eventually, as you see in the 70s arc, has been converted to a man of faith.
Yeah. It's just like before this, he wasn't a man of science. I mean, doctors are men of science, but like they're more men of helping people. That's really a Jack thing. And yeah, doctors are rational and scientific, but it just didn't feel like that was his conflict, that he cared about proof and the scientific.
But they have decided that this is the premise
evidence
of the show for now.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll have to get used to it. Anyway, Desmond just decides to fuck off, and yeah.
Yeah. So Jack doesn't care. Locke gets angry at the whole situation. We get a funny thing of Hurley seeing all the food.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, so Anna questions how Sawyer has a gun, which, I mean, he gives the proper explanation. It's from the Federal Air Marshal.
Yeah, And then we get Desmond running, of course falling over, I'm sure breaking all of his vaccine stuff.
Yeah.
And Jack points a gun at him, and Desmond explains the numbers.
And I'm just like, Jack, you are being, like...
I think
way too heated over this situation.
I just feel like Jack is just going through so much that he is, like, misplacing his anger, you know?
Yeah,
and even then it feels kind of excessive.
Yeah, Jack's like, nothing is going to happen when we don't push it, and Desmond goes, well, you're either going to be very right or very wrong. So...
Yeah.
Then they bring up the meeting.
The first... Yeah, Desmond remembers, and that's... I almost wish that them talking about this didn't happen at a time when Jack was so upset, because I want them both to talk about stuff, you know? I don't... But anyway, is this the first reveal that Jack was married?
No, because we saw his wedding.
So we did see his wedding in the flashback?
Yes.
Oh, in, like, this flashback or an earlier one?
Earlier.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yep. This was the reveal that, that they were really, truly divorced. The marriage was... in the past tense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could assume with everything that had kind of happened before, and that he's not like, I have to get back to my wife.
Yeah. So Saeed is just like, I don't know what this timer's counting down to, but I am sure it's not good, so I'm gonna fix this. Which, understandable.
Yeah, fix it. Locke enters the numbers, which makes Hurley angry. Then Jack comes and corrects the numbers.
Locke gets them wrong, and Hurley's like, okay, sure. But yeah, Locke makes him get it right. And Locke wants Jack to press it, and it's this whole thing. And I don't really care, but I guess I should start caring if the man of science versus man of faith thing is going to be a big thing now.
Yeah. So then Jack hits the button. And then we have a sort of dream sequence of Hurley just eating everything in the pantry.
Yeah.
And we get Jin speaking...
I'm thinking like, okay, come on, you have a lot of survivors, let's share this food. But then
it's a dream.
No, it's a dream.
And we get, Daniel Day Kim speaking in his normal voice, which, how is that for you, not expecting it?
Yeah, that was very surprising, but...
Yeah. Also, a funny thing I should mention is that on the carton of milk, there's a thing that says missing child, and it's a picture of Walt.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's a funny little Easter egg.
Yeah, nice. Anyway, yeah, so Sawyer and Michael are frustrated in the cage, and Echo lets them out.
Yeah, well, he lets out Jin and Michael. He doesn't let Sawyer out.
The thing about Sawyer is that, okay, part of me here is like, come on, these are good guys, just resolve this. But the other part is like, yeah, Sawyer's being unnecessarily a bitch here. I get why they don't want to let him out.
Any ideas where this stuff is going to go? I mean, it's kind of hard to say.
I definitely just want to see shit get talked out between Ana Lucia and our gang, and I want to see them just take Ana Lucia's gang to the camp, to the beach, so we can so they can see that yeah, here's the rest of the survivors. I want to see our whole our main gang, Jack and Locke, get some respect. And other than that, I do not expect anything with Walt to be resolved anytime soon. I'm not even sure if I expect that to be resolved by the end of season 2. That seems like something that might be drawn out.
Okay.
And with the hatch and the button, that feels like I'm not going to get that much. That feels like it's just going to be people keep pressing the button, but not much really happens with it. And yeah, I feel like there's not really much other than with the Tailies plot. There's not much forward momentum here, and maybe they'll start something new, or maybe it will be boring. But I guess I want to see Desmond meet everyone else too.
Yes. So I hope you will join us next time, where we will be covering episode 46, November 6th to 7th, and episode 47, November 7th to 8th.